Hey, Patty Cats! So today I've got something very fun and get started. We will be doing a BDSM safety terminology class. And we'll be teaching on about terminology, safety with BDSM, and exactly what smack is. So this isn't one of the, normal... This isn't going to be one of the normal streams that you've seen me do. We're going to be trying to incorporate some more into what we do. This will be basically, if you go to the Twitch for the Dysfunctional Family, I am also streaming it there. And, we want to educate people and teach you all how to be safe when in kink. So I am so glad to get started. Of course, go ahead and enjoy the music. And we'll get started here in a few. And I'll let you all know exactly what's going on. Alicia, you might be taking up too much power or service. bugs, it is about time. So anybody who is either watching on Twitch or is located in the Discord, you are able to see exactly what I have on my screen at the moment. Actually, hold on a second. Now you can see what's on my screen. Okay. So, we will be going over what exactly BDSM is, terminology you will see during the BDSM, well, you know, during your same BDSM community, and what exactly consent is. Anybody who is on the Twitch and not on the Discord, you're going to want to join that Discord. We're going to go over a couple of things that the Discord is about, you know, just things that you'll want to know. Chain of command, what the rules are.
You have to be careful. You were just a robot.
I saw that. I think I fixed it now. There'll be moments where I get a little roboty, guys. I really do apologize. I have like 8 things pulled up on my computer. That's making it just a bit difficult. But as I said, if you all are in the Discord, I'm also in the classroom showing and saying the same thing that you all are seeing here in the Twitch. So, this class is for Country's Kinky Gaming server. We want to go ahead and we want to welcome you into the server. Please enjoy, be safe, and of course, we want you to have fun. That is the number one thing. With this kind of a lifestyle, if you're not having fun, you're doing something absolutely, completely, utterly wrong. This is supposed to be fun, guys. Don't lose sight of that. So, on the server, we have 3 tiers for the chain of command. We have our Aftercare, which consists of any aftercare that you need that occurs on server. These people and anybody really is going to be able to help you kind of work through that. So, for our Aftercare team, we have a person named Nikki, a person named Norse, and a person named Ray. Our guard dogs is basically our mods. On our mod team, we have Angry Beard, we have Heaven, and we have myself. And then for our admins, which are our top wolves, we have Country, Country's Lady, and Drifter. When it comes to chain of command, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open a ticket. On the, where is it? Underneath support tickets on Country's Kinky Gaming server, you have 2 different options. You have Kinky support and you have Gamer support. If you have a question for like gaming, like let's say one of the channels isn't working, or you have a suggestion, open up a ticket under Gaming support. It'll pop up a little ticket, you write in exactly what you want to say, and a member of staff will get back with you. The same thing goes for Kink. So, when you open that ticket, if it's an aftercare situation that occurs on server, Aftercare Awesomeness will reach out to that ticket. So it's not like you're just going to open a ticket and be ignored. We're not going to let that happen. If there is a situation that cannot be taken care of in your DMs, or there is a fear, I want to really dig down on that. If there is a fear of handling it without staff, then reach out to guard dogs. If it's just something petty like, oh, Heaven stole my marker on the green marker, I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'm going to look at you like you have 8 heads. Come on, let's be adults. But if I'm afraid that Heaven is going to walk up and beat the crap out of me, and it's not consensual, then I'm going to open that ticket.
You know you want it.
If the situation does not feel resolved to your liking, or to situation that requires higher ups, then, and only then, will a member of staff bring in the top wolves. So, let's say another situation. Let's say fangirl here. Let's say that her and I got in an argument. I said the sky was blue. She said it's green. We're sitting there fighting back and forth, and I'm like, I don't like this. I'm going to go talk to Country. That's not going from the chain of command. Country then is going to tell me, did you go through the chain of command? If I say no, then guess what? I need to go all the way back down. Go by the chain of command. Things will happen if you do it properly.
Please no tattletale. I'm sorry.
Damn you, I told you the sky was blue. Okay.
I'm colorblind.
So, on the server, we have two sets of rules. We have the gamer rules and we have the kink rules. I'm going over the kink rules at the moment. So, of course, as I keep telling you all during all the streams, everybody on the server already knows we are 18 and older. Verification is mandatory. If you are under the age, or we find out you're under the age, or you lied about being under the age, we're going to have massive problems. And we're going to tell you can come back and re-verify when you're of age, which means you have to be 18. Failure to verify within 72 hours of being asked, we will kick you from the server. Which brings us to 2. We do not allow bullying. We do not allow harassment. We don't like drama. Just don't be a snowflake. I mean, come on, guys. We're all grown adults. There's no need to be a snowflake. You need to make sure if you want to DM somebody, you ask for consent. There is a consent channel under the welcome tab. Consent to DM. Consent is everything. We will not allow stalking, verbal or emotional abuse. Slurs, whether they be racial, ethnic, transphobic, homophobic, anything that, if you have to question, is this proper to say, it's best you don't say it. Okay? So, we only allow 1 account per person. Don't come in here with 12 accounts thinking if I break a rule on this account, it's okay, I have this account. No, we're only going to allow 1 account per person. And if we find out you have more than 1, you're gone. The ban hammer's being laid down. We're going to smack the shit out of you with the ban. So, on the server, we have lots of rules. So, lots of rooms. My bad. You want to make sure that whatever you're posting goes in the correct room. I'm not going to post, let's see here, I'm looking at the coloring room, okay? I'm not going to post a meme in the coloring room. Okay, you want to make sure that whatever you're posting is in the right place. And as I've already alliterated, consent is all. You need consent to DM anybody on server, on any social media. So if I found, if I found Gingy on Facebook, I'm not just going to be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to add Gingy. No, I need to ask Gingy, hey, Gingy, can I add you on Facebook? And then Gingy can, respond however Gingy wants to.
Of course you can.
Yay! Because fun fact, I actually did find you on Facebook. Okay. So, everyone's safety in this server is our #1 priority. We do have a safe word system. We go by red, yellow, and green. Green, everything is clear. You can go ahead, keep talking. But if anybody posted a yellow, so let's say that we're in the middle of kinky chat, and let's say Scooby says yellow. All conversations in that room are to pause until further instructions are given by staff. So whatever you decide to post after that, there's going to be repercussions because a yellow was called in that room itself. So you can go down to, you can go down to, let's say, the roleplay channels and keep talking. It doesn't matter. But in Kinky Chat, there is no conversation until a staff member says green. And then we have our red, which means all conversations in all rooms are stopped. I don't want to see any messaging whatsoever at all in server. That is a massive rule break, and we're doing that to make sure that everybody is okay, that there's nothing that needs to be further talked down. We want to make sure that everyone feels safe. Don't spam the messages and text chats. Don't just sit there and be like 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 100. It's stupid. Again, we're adults. Come on. Any drama, make sure you take it to DMs or create a ticket. IRL stays off server. If you need help like that, there are plenty of mental health professionals that you can go to, but nobody on server is your therapist. We do not want that title. Please go seek help if you need it. And of course, nobody is above the rules. It doesn't matter if Country himself does a rule break. Let's say that he breaks rule 6. There's a red and he decides to put in I like potatoes. Guess what? He's going to get a warning because he had a conversation in a room. It doesn't matter what position that person holds. Everybody is accountable for the rules. You love the color red.
So the first half of this didn't get to work on that.
Oh, well, that's great.
I gotta go.
Okay. So let's say that you are part of a couple of different servers. You know, that's completely fine. Have your fun. But do not bleed issues from one server to the next. Come on, like, that's not our job. If there is, you know, squabble going on in Timbuktu, I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. You always want to make sure that you're caring and understanding, and do not talk over people. It is rude and disrespectful, and they're fighting words. Just don't do it. And of course, again, follow the chain of command. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, come to a member of staff. We are so glad to answer any questions you have.
I do have one to say about that too.
Hold on a moment, guys.
Do I need to come in and say it on here?
Say it on the Discord.
The playrooms.
I'm still going over those.
Okay. Right.
So, we have in the server what's called a 3 nice rule stipulation. We do not allow degradation, negative comments about yourself or other people. We want to help build each other up and empower and be able to teach people who they are. So let's say that I said my nose looks fat today. Guess what Country's lady is going to say?
3 nice things.
3 nice things, which means I need to be like, I like the way my hair poofy right now. I like the way my shirt looks on my boobs. And
You like the chicken wines?
and I like my rainbow pants on my ass. 3 nice things about myself. You definitely just learn to be positive. The world is hard enough. There's no need to constantly degrade yourself. All images on the server are protected by the person who has posted it. Do not screenshot. Do not download without consent. I can't explain to you how often I'm going to say consent, 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 consent. Of course, if you, let's say that you come into this server, you've taken the class, and you want a specific role. You make that ticket, say, hey, can I have this role? And we can further talk about it, like the steps you're going to need to take, because we don't just hand out roles. We feel like in the community, you need to be vetted into it. So we're not just going to walk, like, let's see. Pink Fluffy Bunny is not going to walk up to me and say, hey, I want the Littles role. We're not just going to be like, hey, guess what? Okay, here you go, have fun. No, he's going to have to take certain steps in order to get that littles role. We need to make sure that he's not just a predator. We want to make sure that we're protecting everybody in the server and who they are. There are specific rules on rooms on server that are called dynamic rooms. There's also private rooms. We do not enter those without consent. And that consent isn't just a one-time thing and then you're done. If I wanted to walk into, let's say I wanted to walk into Drifter's Den. I'm not just going to be like, oh, well, Drifter told me, one time 4 months ago that it's okay. I need to message Drifter and say, hey, Drifter, can I come into the room? Because consent isn't concurrent. Consent needs to be current. We do not allow 420 on cam or to be spoken about. And, of course, have fun. Also, one rule I do not have on here, we have, what is it called? On here, we have a Sexy Time NSFW channel. So, again, it is just like the private dynamic rooms. If you go in there, you need to make sure that you have consent and that you're being respectful of the people who are enjoying themselves. I can't just walk in there and let's say Country and Country's lady are just having a blast. I'm not just going to walk in there and be like, oh my God, did you know I had spaghetti for dinner? Like, no. No, they're having fun. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to allow them to have their fun. Be respectful of the people who are in the room. So, that is all about the server. And now we're going to get into exactly why you're here. So, the first thing we're going to learn about is consent. Consent is when a participant gives a permission. Honorific. Enjoying it. Just walk up to someone. To minimize the best to ask too many questions. I wanted to do this. Let's say you've had that pre-play conversation, but I'm not sure if this is okay. I'm going to ask up like, hey, is this okay? Do I have your consent? Yes, no. So, you want to also avoid making any suggestion that kink and sex should involve certain things. Just because you've been taught one thing about sex and kink doesn't make it the end-all be-all. You need to always make sure you're evolving and learning. What could you do differently? What could I do better? Constantly ask questions. Exactly, Country's lady. Consent should be given before you saw anything. Consent is not feared. Consent should never be coerced. Consent, if I am playing with someone and I say, is it okay if I smack you in the leg with a crochet hook? And they go, for me that's a no-go. Because if they have to question if they consent to that, they're not fully consenting. I want them to be positive and sure that what they're consenting to is consensual. So, temporary consent is consent that you grant for like an hour or so. So let's say you have a play partner. Someone that you're not exactly in a dynamic with, but you want to play with on a casual Friday night. That is considered temporary consent. It's a scene that lasts for more than a few hours. You may draft some sort of a scene contract or give temporary consent that defines what will happen and who is responsible for what. Some contracts can be very lengthy, and they can last from either a scene to a weekend. It just really depends on the amount of time that you all have discussed. Make sure you're discussing every little detail. You don't want to leave any question for anything. Ask too many questions. It's the best way to do it. So, you heard me bring up contract. What is a contract? It's a document detailing the expectations two people or more, whatever you're into, in a dominant and submissive relationship have for each other. Mostly, it's the dominant partner providing clear instructions to the submissive, but it also is things that the submissive expects from the dominant. This is not a one-sided coin. If anything, you all should remember that at the end of the day, that submissive is the one who holds the power over the entire dynamic. If that submissive says no, that dominant should respect their wishes and say, okay, no. A contract is not legally binding, but it can show that they're serious in what they do and who they are. And it's always a good referring point. If there's a question like, what were my rules again? It's going to be in that contract. So you can always go back and look at it. So, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have no questions anywhere.
Yeah, stop for questions.
Where am I at? Yes. Okay, so does anybody have any questions before I continue on? I'm going to give it a few moments. I'm also looking at questions in the Discord. If anybody has any, there is no voice.
Jeremy, I keep serving you because you were mute yourself.
Okay, so...
Sorry.
Jeremy, I kept server muting you because you didn't mute yourself. So, do you have any questions?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I just want to let you know, just in case you tried to say anything, you can mute yourself, please, sir. Lexi does have a question.
You have a question, Lexi, hon? Honey, you're muted, love. There's a no voice for the classroom. Type in your question there, babe. I'm sorry, guys, on this stream. I am in the middle of answering any questions as are popping up on the Discord.
Lexi, if you tap on your screen and look at the bottom, you'll see a mic. You can tap on the mic to unmute yourself.
So at the minute, honey, I am just giving the class. So this class that I'm teaching now, you're going to have to make sure that you attend. And there is a question and answer part at the end that you need to do in order to start getting you into the kink side of the server. Any other questions, love? Okay.
I have one.
Oh, hold on. I have a question. What's up?
I'm gonna actually post it.
Okay. Hold on. She's posting a question.
What were you saying, Nala?
She found the unmute button.
Where are you? Oh, you're posting it there. So, Country's Lady asks, why do we need consent over and over again at the beginning of each scene? So, when I'm discussing a scene with my play partner, we are going over exactly what's happening. So let's say that we're just going to do some light impact play. she's going to say, is this okay? Yes, I consent. Is this okay? Yes, I consent. She wants to make sure I'm consenting to each thing individually. That way it is not just assumed consent. You do not want assumed consent. You want to make sure that everything you all have agreed upon doing, there is consent for each one of them. That way she can't just pop up in the middle of the scene and be like, oh, I think I'm going to introduce this now. No, because we didn't discuss it, and she has not gotten my consent. And even if we are in the middle of playing, the last thing that needs to happen is, let's say she wants to bring in a wooden spoon. I'm being very gentle because I am on Twitch. Let's say that she wants to bring in a metal spoon. And I am already, we are about an hour into this impact play. There is a question about whether or not I am fully able to consent at that point all the way. Because I could be in a position of like subspace, or you don't want those questions. So make sure you have discussed everything that you all intend on doing before. Get consent for what is going on. Don't introduce things in the middle of the scene. It is bad. Bad. Any other questions before I go ahead and move on? Yes, no, maybe so. I see someone typing. But why do we need consent for every scene? Are you talking about whether... Oh. Okay. So she says, why do we need consent for every scene? Wouldn't once be enough? Because everybody's constantly changing. What I may like yesterday, I may not like today. Hold on a moment. We're going to have somebody else come speak on this.
Okay, so on the... Alright, so say they're doing a scene and I want to step in. They've already got their consent on what they're doing and I want to step in. Just because she's my wife and they're doing a scene, I can't just step in there and take over. Even though I am the dom of the house, of the situation. Because I am allowing them to have their fun time. So I still, as a dom, need to step in and ask permission and get consent from everybody for me to step in and play with anything. So there is another part right there. You can't, in the situation we have, like even with her fiance, he can't just come and step in. We have our rules set in place for a reason. And we've all agreed upon these. So if they were in a scene and I wanted to step in, I have to ask permission. Even if me and my wife was having our own scene, they would have to do the same thing and ask permission. And the permission is still as consent. You have to get consent from everybody to do anything. Stepping into a room while somebody is having a conversation. When you're asking permission to speak or you start speaking upon things, which way is more proper? Asking the permission to speak or just opening your mouth and talking? So remember that, that is in everyday life. You can't just keep it down to just this right here. It is everyday life. You should ask consent about anything. So, proceed.
Okay. So, I'm going to skip over play partners. I'm going to have to shorten this up just a bit, guys, because this is taking a bit longer than I had intended. So some of the things like play partners, I'm not going to go over. However, if there is something that you see and I didn't cover it enough, feel free to ask. I really don't mind. So a dynamic, basically in layman's term, it's a type of relationship in the BDSM lifestyle. Just because you're in a dynamic does not mean that you're dating that person. It's just another form of a relationship. Do you have to be in a relationship to be in a dynamic? No. Do you have to be in a dynamic to be in a relationship? No. So, there are things in the community that you're going to want to watch out for. And we call those things red flags. Subs and doms both have red flags. If you have a heart beating in your chest, you have a potential for a red flag. Some of the red flags that, we've noticed to be the biggest things in the lifestyle are they insist you don't need a safe word. They say, I don't have any hard or soft limits. The only other side of that is, let's say the baby kinksters. They don't know exactly what they are, or they haven't explored those. So we do need to use common sense when we're sitting there going, oh, well, you've been in the lifestyle for all of a day. You better tell me all of your hard limits. They just don't know yet. Be patient with them. If they pressure you into playing in ways that violates your personal limits, if they play when they're angry, upset, or intoxicated, you don't want to play when you're not in a safe, sane, sound mind. If they walk up to you, first meeting you, and they're like, you're going to call me daddy. Like, no. Do not let anybody tell you you need to address them as a specific title when you first meet them. Let's say they don't provide aftercare, they don't respect your safe word, or they make you feel guilty for using them. Red flag. They tell you to stop using birth control or barriers during sex, and it's not pre-negotiated. It's a red flag. If they don't want to have conversations, what? Shut up, bitch. Refuses to have conversations about consents, limits, or desires. They don't treat you as an equal or disrespects you out of scene, again, unless otherwise agreed upon. Demanding to be dominated by behavior without your consent. If they're constantly lying or withholding information. Red flag. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. I closed a couple of things. Okay, so let me get back on topic here. A trigger is something that happens that mentally or emotionally puts you at a state of mind that is dangerous. It is not something like a spider. That is called a fear. Or the word twitch. Twitch is not a trigger. A trigger is something, I'm going to go very generic here. Let's say that when you were a child, your grandmother baked apple pies on a Sunday. So, on Sunday afternoon, you walk into your kitchen and you smell an apple pie. That's going to make you go, oh crap, I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother used to make apple pies. It's just a memory that puts to an emotion. It is not a singular word that just goes, oh my god, there's a spider, I'm terrified. Again, you're terrified, not triggered. Get your lives together. A trigger and a fear are not the same thing. Here, I have a couple of examples of a trigger and a couple of examples of a fear. A gun cocking, belts, tone of voice, volumes of your voice, eye contact, knives, all of those things can be triggers. However, on the second, side of that token, a spider, fear of heights, being alone, water, lightning, thunder, dogs, injections, those things are you're afraid of it. It's not a trigger. Okay. So, before I get on to terminology, again, any questions?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on a minute. We've got some questions. Moist. Moist is... I don't even know. Get your lives together. Make this smaller. So, thunder, in a way, yes, it can be a trigger. The question was, thunder can be a trigger, though, can't it? So let's say that you have a memory of you being a child and there was a really bad storm. It can be a trigger in that sense. But if you're just scared of thunder because it's loud, then that's not a trigger, that's a fear. So all of those things are circumstantial. Hold on, I'm still getting some more questions. Now, because, like, the sounds of it in bombs. Yes. So, things like that, you know, again, it's all circumstantial. So yes, it can be a trigger, but again, if it's just, you know, okay, it's storming, it's raining, oh my god, there's thunder, I'm scared. It's just a fear. I have another question. What if a trigger for you is sensory related? The smell of a certain cologne, the feeling of certain things. Those things can be triggers. So let's say, again, very generic, very cookie cutter here. Let's say that something really bad happened to you in your childhood. And while it really badly happened to you, there was a certain cologne that certain someone was wearing. And then you're walking through Walmart and you smell it. It can be a trigger. And that is completely, what's the word? Acceptable, not acceptable. Okay.
I flushed Ginger before I was done with it.
Yep, a certain word can also be triggering. A lot of these things, you just need to question to yourself, is it related to a memory, or am I just scared? So, like how I said, let me go back up here. So, let's say right here, spiders. So, let's say there was a certain instance, I'm going to really pull one out of a hat here. Let's say that when I was 5 years old, somebody locked me in a cage and dangled a spider over my head. In that specific sense, a spider can be a trigger. But if I just walk outside and I see a spider on the ground, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a spider, I'm not triggered, I'm scared. Does that make any sense? Or praying mantis, yes. Or a spider duck. Listen, a spider duck is a trigger for me. Okay, any other questions, you lovely human beings? You're right, Evan. It is not a trigger, it's a fear. But let me tell you, if you see a duck with spider legs or a spider with a duck head, then you're not going to be scared. Let me make sure I have no questions over here. Okay. Hold on, I got a couple of people typing. Explain how a word can be a trigger. Perfect example. Okay, Pink Fluffy Bunny says the word pilot. Okay, so I'm gonna... let me see how I can make this a trigger. Okay, let's say you're a World War II vet. Okay? And you've been through the war and everything and stuff about people flying planes. Okay? This is a really bad example. I don't like this. Perfect. Okay. I have... I don't even like... I'm going to use the word alone. Let's say... Now. Nope. Am I good now? Am I peachy?
Yes.
I'm asking on the Discord. That's why I'm real body.
That's where I'm
Okay, so let's say the word alone. Let's say you've been in a relationship and it was an abusive relationship and they've constantly told you you're going to be alone. No one's going to want you. You're going to be alone. That word itself can become a trigger. If you're sitting there and, let's say, I'm walking with Country's Lady through Walmart, and my entire life I've been told you're going to be alone. Nobody's going to want you. You're going to be alone. If all it takes is for something as simple as Country's Lady to walk off and say, I'm going to leave you alone for a moment. The act of walking off and saying the word alone can become triggering. Hold on. Yes, I'm not going to use that word there.
No, I'm putting some out there.
Yes. So, the R word can be very triggering.
Great.
Because you've been through it. It is a word that is associated with a memory that can put you in a bad spot.
Great. DM me what yours is.
I will in a minute. I'm reaching on 50 minutes here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move along. If there's any questions, let me know, and I will address them as quick as I can before I go on to terminology.
Yeah, because you got 50 minutes.
Yeah, I am preaching on a time limit. Oh, thank you so much for following. I really wish I could say your name.
What was I saying?
Psychopaths.
But definitely, come join us on the Discord here. I'm so glad that you followed us and follow the family Discord. Oh, hi, Ray. We're excited to have you. Okay, I don't think I have any other questions. So, what is BDSM? BDSM in short is bondage and discipline, domination and submission, and sadism and masochism. I'm not going to get into those separate words itself because I could go on a tangent forever. Safety. The three things you want to know when you're doing anything in the BDSM lifestyle is you want to make sure you are safe. You know what you're getting into. Knowledge is power. You are sane. Have you been drinking? Do you trust your partner? Has everything been communicated? And consent. Make sure it's always obtained for every little thing you do, every time. Just because I've consented now does not mean I consent in 10 minutes. It does not mean I consent tomorrow. It does not mean I consent in a month. You need consent every time. Etiquette. We talked about this when we were going through our rules. You want to respect. Respect does not equal submission. Submission is a gift, not a right. Don't use don't use honorifics without consent. A big thing that we've noticed in the community these days by baby kinksters is they like to poke primals. Do not poke a primal that you are not in a dynamic with. It is absolutely rude. And you don't even have consent to poke these primals. So, again, consent. Be open-minded. Don't kink shame. Just because it's not your kink doesn't mean it's not my... Just because it's not my kink doesn't mean it's your kink. You know where I'm going. Communicate, be honest, and never stop learning. Constantly keep learning. So, we have different types of play here. We have impact play. I'm going to go briefly over some of these. It's the act of striking a person, either in a sexual activity or a scene. It is often... Some impact play offers a unique feeling or increases the responsiveness of the skin. Some other impact provides pain. The do's and don'ts. You want to make sure that you do use a safe word. You do discuss your toys. You do discuss your boundaries. and you do mention where it's okay to mock. Let's say that you have kids or you go work in a church. You're not going to be mocked around like you're Jesus Christ himself. I mean, you want to make sure that you've discussed where it's okay to mock. Don't drink and kink. Don't forget about consent. Don't go full throttle with the first swing. Really build them up. Otherwise, you're going to break a toy without even you played with it. And you don't want to strike dangerous areas. You want to make sure that you're not hitting the stomach. You want to make sure you're not hitting where the kidneys are, where there's any vital organs or thin skin. You want to make sure that, again, you don't break your toys before you played with it. Exactly. No drinking and kinking. I cannot say that.
Drinking and kinking.
Huh?
No alcoholic drinking.
Yep, no alcoholic kinking drinking. Drinking kinking.
See, that sounds so bad.
Right? Rope play. Rope play is a BDSM practice that lets the dominant tie up his or her submissive. They're often called a rigger or a rope bunny. Safety for it. You want to make sure that you know exactly where your safety shoes are, your first aid kit. Make sure they're both stocked fully. You know that they're working properly and where they're located in case of an emergency. Don't tie over broken skin, inflamed or bruised skin. You want to make sure that you learn the knots that you're working with first and don't tighten them on the body. If you need to, practice with those strips of fabric. Fabric.
Etiquette. DMs.
I have no DMs.
I'm sending you one.
Okay.
But you need to stop for a second.
Okay, give me just a minute. Oh, hold up. Where?
Has anybody got any questions so far?
I'm muted on both ends.
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Oh.
Nobody?
I'm good.
That's good.
Okay, guys, sorry. I had to get some... Did I just deafen myself?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. I just needed to clarify something that was said to me. So, I will... Okay, so... I'm going to go back to this slide real fast because it seems like I may need to go over something again. Guys, when I'm talking about consent, I'm not playing around. I don't think it's funny to break consent. So when we say, like, let's say that I was not in this family dynamic. I did not have Country's consent to poke him. I did not have Country's ladies' permission to poke him. And I did it anyways. Not only does it look bad on me because it look like I have no respect for myself or for them, I'm breaking consent. I do not have consent to poke Country or Country's lady. So I really want to reiterate that. It's not a joke. When we say don't poke, we really do mean it, guys. Okay? Consent isn't something I joke about. Okay, so let me get back on topic here. Okay. When you're doing role play, something you can always work on is you can work with a cuff and tie it to the cuff. And of course, remember SSC. Safe, sane, consensual. Well, if you're poking that wolf, make sure you have consent to poke that wolf. That's all I'm going to have to say on that. Electric play is another type of play where electricity is used on the body to create different sensations. You've got a couple of different options for this. You know, you've got the neon or the violet ones. You've got TENS units. It's anything that can be used for static electricity to create a shocking feeling on the body. Ooh, body. Exactly. Country's Lady said it perfectly right there. And so did Drifter's little bratty shit. You don't know what type of headspace that primal or person is in. So let's say that, you know, at least Country's Lady has had a really bad day. And she is just not in the mood. And I walk up and I'm just poking and poking and poking and poking. Not only is she going to get fed up and mad, but it can ruin our friendship. Purely because I didn't have enough respect to ask for consent to poke her. Consent isn't just a one-time thing. It is an everyday thing. It is an every minute thing. I would much rather ask for consent too many times than not enough and ruin a perfectly good friendship. So, before electricity play, you want to make sure that the equipment is 1, placed away from the heart. 2, that person doesn't have a pacemaker or any other medical implants. And 3, that person is not pregnant. I knew you were gonna fucking laugh at that. So, I mean, it should be self-explanatory why you don't want to do electric play with someone who has a pacemaker, all of that stuff. Think about it, guys. If you're sticking a TENS unit right here, they have a pacemaker, you just offed that person. Not safe.
An ally that takes you out electric play.
Fuck you.
What?
She said, I bet that takes you out of electric play.
Look what I just posted.
Fucking bitch. Ugh, I love these people. A couple of other questions to ask your partner. Do they have any health concerns? Are you wearing any jewelry? Or do you have any electronic devices on them? Let's not say. My nipples are pierced. You're not going to sit there and put some freaking little car battery things on my nipples. They're going to fry right off. Okay? Shut up. You want to make sure if they have any piercings. Let's go ahead and change those metal piercings out for plastic. Don't want to burn you. Make sure you have your safe word. Where's your first aid supplies? Is it stocked? Does that equipment properly work? Do you know how to use it? Hold on a minute. Okay, there we go. I became disconnected for a minute. Do you know how to properly play breath play? Where do you grab? What kind of pressure do you need? Are you in a safe space? When in doubt, don't be afraid to ask for help. At the same token, do not play under the influence. Do both you and your partner know the risk? Is there any underlying health issues that you need to be aware of and what to do in case of an emergency? I know that if my partner has like, what's it called? Asthma. I'm going to want to make sure that I have their inhaler. I have, everything I need in case something goes wrong. And always remember SSC, knowledge is power, safe, sane, consensual. You've got knife play. It's basically how it's said. It's a play that involves sharpie sharps. It's also considered a type of fear play. Safety in that, just like the others. Any health concerns? Is there a safe word? Where's the first aid kit? Is it stocked? Do you know how to use that properly? Is that place safe? Do you know what to do in case of an emergency? Are they sterilized? Where's your phone in case you need to call 911? Are you drunk? Are you intoxicated? Are you under the influence of anything? Are you and your partner aware of the risk? When in doubt, make sure you're up to date on bloodborne pathogens and first aid. And like with any type of play, never forget your aftercare. Hold up. Okay. Am I still good? Can everybody still hear me? Okay. Which goes ahead. Yes. First aid, CPR, bloodborne pathogens, any type of thing. You want to make sure that you at least know what you're getting into. So you don't have to go out and get all of these certifications, but make sure you're up to date and know exactly what to do in case something does happen. SSC, safe, sane, and consensual. It's basically the pillars of what BDSM stands on. You've got RAC, your risk-aware consensual kink. Basically says you're aware of the risk and you consent. Prick, personal responsibility. Hold on, I've got to pause. Hold on, make sure I don't have any questions. I've got it typing.
Go ahead.
Okay. Prick, personal responsibility informed consensual kink. Basically says you take personal responsibility, you're informed, and you consent to the kink that you're doing. When in doubt, you want to make sure that you and your partner are aware, informed, and that you both take responsibility for what's about to happen. I'm not just going to play with someone and be like, no, bitch, you're responsible for that. Like, no, you need to make sure that you know who's responsible for what. You take personal responsibility for yourself. For you. CNC, it's consensual non-consent. I know we've been sitting here preaching consent, 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 and then you see consensual non-consent. Consensual non-consent is still consent. It is just a type of scene that you all have discussed, and it is basically, it's an extreme power exchange where previous negotiations there is a victim overcome by a predator. That in itself is going to have way more consent than you all think. Everything has to be consented on, from what's going to happen, who's going to be where, what's going to be where. Just because it says non-consent does not mean it lacks consent. A Sam. I'm going to go ahead and put this out. A Sam is not a brat. I personally do not like Sams. I feel like they're disrespectful. And there is a line between disrespect and bratting. A Sam is a small-ass masochist. Basically, they just like to manipulate people into getting what they want. So, imagine a submissive who was not submissive and just basically talked back the entire time, didn't respect you, and just wanted you to, like, have fun with them all the time. That's a Sam. A Sam has no respect, where a brat does know where the line is. A brat is basically just a type of submissive who just acts in a bratty behavior. They're not compliant, they do misbehave, however, they do know where the line is. A top is also called a dom. They're called a mistress, a dominatrix, madam, mommy, daddy, sir. Any type of thing that just makes them dominant.
Hey, what's a Sam again?
A Sam is a small-ass masochist. A bottom. A bottom is the opposite of a top. A bottom is a submissive. You've got subs, you've got slaves, brats, littles, service subs, primal subs, pet subs. I mean, there's so many different types of subs. Aftercare. Aftercare is what happens when the scene is over. It is the emotional and physical care that is administered by both the submissive and the dominant. Yes, you also have your switches. Yes, Scooby. You know, I don't know if I even have that in here. That is really nice to bring up. I'm going to have to add that. So, I'm going to go with what Scooby said. He goes, and you've got your switches. A switch is a person who is both dominant and submissive. Some have dominant tendencies, some have submissive tendencies. It's just a person who enjoys both sides of the same cake. Aftercare, a lot of the time, shut up, Heaven, I'm almost done. Aftercare, we see a lot of the time the dominant giving the submissive aftercare. And a lot of the times, you know, we don't really think, holy crap, you know, there is a thing called Dom Drop. So make sure that you're both giving each other, fuck you, country. Make sure you're both giving each other aftercare. And when it comes to aftercare, make sure you discuss what you all like. What works for one may not work for the other. Aftercare is just different for everybody. A drop, as I just said, it's the coming down after the scene. It's a hormonal coming down. It can look like crying, feeling sad, there can be shaking. It can just be something as simple as, oh my god, I don't think I did good enough. Like, reassuring and aftercare are both ways to combat that. And of course, for some people, like, it can be that emotional reset. I've said it myself. It's kind of like my own form of therapy. So, safe words. Safe words you always need to make sure you have. They can be any word in the dictionary that can come to your mind when you need to stop a scene. It can be something as simple as red light, pineapple, banana. Mine is, what in the world is mine? I just remember yours. See, I remember my partner's safe word, but now I've forgotten waffles. That's what mine is.
Pineapple.
And pineapples.
You can put it in the bag ever.
But in the case that you are confined, let's say that you have a gag in your mouth, you got a spider gag, ball gag, some sort of thing that prevents you from physically talking. There can be physical safe words, such as leg tapping, dropping something in your hand. Let's say you have a bell in your mouth, drop it. Yes, color codes, perfect. Anything that you all have agreed to use as a safe word, you can use at any time without feeling like you're going to hurt the scene. Safe words should never be guilt tripped. Oh my god. A soft limit is something that they're hesitant to try, but they're willing to if negotiated in the right scene. Where a hard limit is a big ass no-go. Don't do it. Big ass no. Like, big red circle with a line in it. Don't even try it. Little space. How many more slides in the world do I have? Holy Jesus!
That's why I said let's
Okay.
we'll stop after.
So, I'm not going to go into these different types of spaces, but we have little space, we have subspace, we've got pet space, primal space, slave space, dom space. There's so many different types of spaces. If you do have questions on them, I am so willing to sit down and talk with you about it, but I mean, we are creaching on where? I don't even know anymore.
I think that's a good space to kind of stop. Just
Oh, we're done now. Okay, so any questions from my lovely beans? Just waiting. Yeah, country, your balls dropped right into country's lady's purse.
Oh, shit.
Okay, guys. I'm just looking to see if anybody has any questions before I end the stream. I do want to go ahead and thank everybody who has attended this class, either on Twitch, on YouTube. Huh?
The questions.
What question? Oh, I do need to post that. Oh, hold up. I'm going to go right here.
And you need to turn your camera
My cam is off.
on.
Oh. I'll have to wait for that until I end my stream. Give me just a minute, guys. I'm gonna get this test up. Docs.
Read what I just posted in Twitch.
Sheets. Yeah, give me just a moment and I will get that. I'm trying to find this.
You know you're sharing healthcare information with everybody, right?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here.
I'm not even on that bloody screen! Oh. It's on the Discord. I don't even care about that. You have me thinking it was on Twitch.
You still may want to end your live.
Give me just a minute. I can't bloody remember why I had it. And that's... Okay, any questions from you lovely beings?
Come on, there's got to be a question or two.
Can do Luke 3 taps or something like that. I don't want to do Luke. Can do like 3 taps or something like that. Yeah. Definitely. Anything that you all have agreed upon. Oh, there it is. To be your safe signal can be used. Okay. So, I'm going to drop this here. That is the questionnaire. Please fill that out and it will get sent to me when you all are done. So everybody on Twitch, I just wanted to go ahead and say I love you all so much. Catch me on in like a few minutes. Let me get my life together and we'll do like 2 rounds of Phasma